Kids, and welcome to Disney Animation Reviews. I'm Josiah Melky, and today we are in a bit of a rut, starting what they call the Disney Dark Ages era. This was 20-some years following the success of The Jungle Book, that without their leader, Walt Disney, Disney struggled to make really good animated features. And we're starting that era today with Disney's 20th animated feature film classic, The Aristocats. Based off a book by Tom McGowan and Tom Rowe, they had actually originally planned to do Aristocats as an episode of their Walt Disney's Wonderful World of Color TV show in the early 60s, and then Walt personally suggested they do it as a feature film instead. Production designer Ken Anderson did some storyboards for the film and showed them to Walt, and Walt approved of the idea, approved of Anderson's boards, and let the filmmakers start work on the film after Jungle Book was done. Aristocats was actually the last animated Disney feature film that Walt personally approved of before his death. But when it was released, it was the first animated Disney feature film produced in its entirety without him. The film was directed by Wolfgang Reitherman, who had also directed 101 Dalmatians, Sword in the Stone, and The Jungle Book. Aristocats was Disney's 20th animated feature film, first released 2 weeks prior to Christmas 1970. The film was a moderate box office success and got decently good reviews. Also, in the time leading up to between Jungle Book and Aristocats, Disney did some animated Winnie the Pooh shorts to get themselves ready for the feature film, The Many Adventures of Winnie the Pooh. They worked on new Disneyland attractions like the Haunted Mansion and the Country Bear Jamboree, and in 1969, they released the live-action film The Love Bug, the debut of number 53 himself, the Volkswagen Beetle with a mind of his own, Herbie. But this review is about the Aristocats, so let's talk about it. I saw this movie numerous times as a kid, and I was probably about the right age for it, because I think I remember enjoying it really well. In later years, it's become a distant memory, and I've read it's not one of the more favorite animated Disney films, but it's got some good stuff about it. So here's the story of the Aristocats, and I'll give my thoughts on it. The story takes place in Paris, France during the year 1910, where Duchess, a wealthy cat, lives with her 3 kittens and their owner Madame in a beautiful Paris mansion. Madame's about to pass away and calls in her lawyer to help out with her fortune. She's planning to give her entire fortune to her cats, and whatever's left after they're gone will go to her butler, Edgar. Edgar overhears this, however, and is really upset that the cats are going to get the fortune first, so he comes up with a way to make the cats disappear so he can get the fortune first. He drugs them when they have their dinner and sneaks them out to the country. They accidentally get abandoned in the countryside, and that's where they meet up with Thomas O'Malley, the alley cat, who offers to guide them home to Paris. And along the way, he and Duchess fall in love, and they meet a bunch of interesting animal characters who help them on their journey. One problem that Aristocats has, I'm just going to let off right from the bat, is it feels too derivative of 2 other animated Disney films that are actually really good, Lady and the Tramp and 101 Dalmatians. Lady and the Tramp, you've got the female character who's beautiful and lives in a nice house, Lady versus Duchess. They fall in love with a streetwise character of the opposite gender from the wrong side of the tracks, Tramp versus O'Malley. And there are some dog sidekicks, Jock and Trusty versus Napoleon and Lafayette. The only difference is Napoleon and Lafayette never interact with the cats. They're too busy chasing Edgar in the scenes where it's Edgar and the dogs together. 101 Dalmatians, similarities. Both stories take place in a famous city. 101 Dalmatians takes place in London. Aristocats takes place in Paris. You've got the villain who wants to get rid of the animals, Cruella de Vil versus Edgar, but the big difference is Edgar is way too weak of a villain. He's no Cruella de Vil, I'm just going to put it like that. And you've got the cute baby animals, cute little kittens and Aristocats versus cute little puppies in 101 Dalmatians. And me, myself, I'm more of a dog person, so now I see why Aristocats may not appeal to me as it did when I was a kid. Okay, now on to the good elements of Aristocats. The cat family is actually pretty good. The three kittens are Marie, the only girl who loves to sing. Berlioz plays the piano, and Toulouse is a painter, so they all have different personalities. Their mother, Duchess, is a pretty good parent as far as parents go. She's voiced by Eva Gabor, who later did the voice of Miss Bianca in the Rescuers films. And O'Malley is a very good lead protagonist, as far as protagonists go. Phil Harris, who had just come off of voicing Baloo the Bear in The Jungle Book, is the voice of O'Malley, and he does a really good job. The humans are pretty weak. Like I said, Edgar's no Cruella de Vil, and we see a couple of scenes with Madame and the cats, showing she loves them very much, and is devastated when they go missing, but otherwise we don't get to find out much about her. The other animals' sidekicks are all really good. You've got the dogs, like I said, who have a few chase scenes with Edgar. They're pretty funny for the limited screen time they've got. You have Roquefort the mouse, yet another Sterling Holloway voice role, but he's pretty good. You have the geese, Abigail and Amelia Gabble, who help lead O'Malley and the cats back to Paris, and the cats get to meet the geese's Uncle Waldo, who's drunk. But is that supposed to be funny? I don't know. I still get a few chuckles out of it every now and again, but... And then, of course, you've got Scat Cat and his gang of alley cats, who originally Scat Cat was going to be voiced by Louis Armstrong, the famous jazz trumpeter, but he had health problems, so instead he's voiced by Statman Crothers, doing an imitation of Louis Armstrong. But he's pretty good. As I said, the film is directed by Wolfgang Reitherman, with Ken Anderson as the art director, and they still had some of the 9 old men working as directing animators, including Frank Thomas and Ollie Johnston, who had been with Disney since the beginning. The songs in Aristocats aren't that memorable either. They're pretty good, but compared to the songs in Jungle Book, they're not that good. The opening Aristocats song and the Scales and Arpeggios song are by the Sherman Brothers, who had just come off of writing the Jungle Book songs. The Thomas O'Malley song is by Terry Gilkyson, who, ironically enough, also wrote the Phil Harris song Bare Necessities for the Jungle Book. And then probably the song everybody remembers is Everybody Wants to Be a Cat by Floyd Huddleston and Al Rinker. That's the song that the Alley Cats sing. I think that's my favorite part of the movie right there. Otherwise, the film's kinda, okay. So, yeah, Aristocats is definitely not the best or the worst animated Disney feature ever. It's just kinda in the middle. Little kids will like it, but adults might want to find something else. Aristocats' latest home video release was its Blu-ray debut in the summer of 2012. The DVD, which is the same as the 2008 special edition DVD release of the film, minus the previews, includes a virtual kitten game, and the Blu-ray includes an alternate opening/song for the film that was deleted. Both the Blu-ray and DVD come with another deleted song, Disney's Song Selection, where you can sing along to your favorite songs from the movie, a feature where the Sherman Brothers talk about their music on the film, and an animated short, Bath Day, starring Minnie Mouse and Figaro the Cat from Pinocchio. Aristocats was originally planned to have a direct-to-video sequel from Disney Toon Studios, naturally titled The Aristocats 2. It was originally going to be traditionally hand-drawn animated, and then, with computer animation becoming the norm, they decided to make it computer animated instead. The story was that Duchess, O'Malley, and the kittens would get to go on a cruise where Marie fell in love with a cute, handsome boy kitten on the cruise, but then the family had to stop a jewel thief. After John Lasseter became head of Disney Animation Studios and Pixar Animation Studios, however, plans for Aristocats 2 and sequels like it, like Dumbo 2, were cancelled. It would have been nice to see how the sequel progressed. I think they've got storyboards and concept art on Disney Wiki if you want to check it out for what could have been. If you haven't seen Aristocats, you're probably missing out on some good vocal performances and at least one good song with Everybody Wants to Be a Cat. But otherwise, if you never see it, it's okay. Maybe check it out once or twice every couple years or so the little kids have something to enjoy. Otherwise, I think there's plenty more other animated Disney films you could watch instead. Well, we're out of time for today. Remember, when you wish upon a star, your dreams come true. Bye!